Hi, I'm Holly. I'm a writer, and about a month ago, a little longer, I think, I made a video talking about my new personal curriculum and basically being like, this is what I'm going to be doing for a month. And I thought I would do an update. I did say, I believe, that I was going to do an update in the video. So I'm just going to get into it because that video alone was like 50 minutes and I didn't even, like, I'd not done anything. Yeah, like I wasn't even setting it up. I'd already done it. So the very first thing to bear in mind is that I actually didn't start the week that I said I was going to start. I thought about it, which was good because like I didn't forget that it existed, which was a possibility. So I didn't like beat myself up about it, but I didn't start that week. I started the week after. So I've kind of it worked out well because the next like video that I was supposed to do was like a week after anyway. So I've finished just the first month. But I basically moved that week into month 2. So I'll still go over it, but it's technically month 2, which I have decided to continue because I do think that it's helpful for me. I've noticed a huge difference. So to start, we'll do the violin stuff. Learn how to read sheet music, I've done. I'm not super like fluent in it, like I don't look at it and immediately know, but I do, like I know the notes now, and especially like if I find one note and I know where that note is, I then am able to be like, oh, so this is that note and that's and that, blah blah blah. So it's not perfect, but again, I think sometimes with certain things, like the point of this was that it's about setting myself into these habits of learning and about getting some of it done, because I think it's really easy to just forget to do these things. So I haven't necessarily like perfectly completed these things, but if I've made a genuine effort and progress towards it, I have counted it because that's what really matters to me as the person who did this. And I think that being flexible is a part of, growth. Like sometimes you have to accept that you're not going to do stuff. Like, for example, when we get to the French, you'll see what I mean with that. But I've learned how to read sheet music, I've learned the finger positions. I'm still not perfect with the chords, but I have I kind of know, but it's about practice. And the second thing, which isn't on here because it's in month 2, is to learn a song. I've not learned all of a song, but I've learned a bit of a song, and it's really difficult. It's really bad so far, but I'm gonna keep trying. And so I've crossed it off anyway because I made the effort. It just took it's very slow progress. So I'm making that progress and I am going to continue making it. And so I've done what I aimed to do with the violin, which is remember that it exists and actually do stuff with it. And I did, you can see, learn how to read the sheet music, learn the finger positions, learn chords. That stuff is stuff that I was like intimidated by because I didn't know where to start. So later down the line, I think if I go on to month 2 very quickly, you'll just see violin. I don't think that's a problem. But when I get better at like playing simple things, I'll start learning things like, I don't know, I'll look up stuff that you can do that you have to like learn how to do it, and then I'll put that on there. But for now, I'm just gonna keep going as I am and just aim to like at least once a week play the violin and like try and learn something new. Books by Vietnamese authors, I picked 3 for each of the nationalities that I went for, so I'll put the Vietnamese authors on screen, all 3 of those. Then I'll do the Chinese authors are on screen now. Then I did Nigerian and then Moroccan. So you can pause them, go back and like check them. I haven't read these yet, these are just on the list. And I tried to pick books that were new that I didn't already know from, authors, because I wanted to either pick new authors completely you know, I do have a few authors from like the countries that I mentioned, but I wanted to pick new authors and I wanted to pick new texts that ideally I hadn't heard of. So I went for those. And yeah, you can see what I did. French. I did do French every week, but my French progress was a lot slower than I thought it would be. Because as it turns out, the chapters were a lot longer than I expected. And as I said, I wanted to like learn properly. So like, for example, at the minute I'm learning weather. Last bit I did was like jobs and stuff. So like I know these jobs off by heart. If I heard them, I could say them off the top of my head. I know how to ask what people's jobs are and stuff. That I learn. I also learned like time. There was a lot, like it was a whole page and a half for one of them, page and a half for this one. And then I did a page of weather. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of words and it's a lot of like phrases as well, questions, and like it's not just writing them, it's also, it's a cat hair, sorry. It's also, you know, how to say them correctly. So I did the way I was like, you know what, I don't care if I go through a whole chapter or not. I have learned, like actually like off the top of my head, been able to remember these things. That is what I aim to do. So I counted it, and my aim is just basically to keep making progress. So if, like with the violin and with the French ones, I've just written violin and French because I'm gonna just keep working through the book and I'm gonna just keep practicing the violin. So that's that. The stuff for my dissertation, reading the books and writing notes about them, I have done all of that. I won't show you the notes that I've made because, you know, I actually read 6 articles. 2 of them weren't useful. I used 4 of them, made notes in my, like, I have a notebook, like an A4 notebook, and then I transferred those onto my digital one as well because I have a proper, like, thing. So I also did all of the bibliography stuff for them. I like doing a bibliography. I like doing footnotes. I know there are a lot of people who are like, that is the worst thing. I love it. That is my favorite part of writing an essay, and I know that that sounds insane because I like writing essays anyway, but I love it. I love doing it. So I just did that already, and I like saved all the links and stuff so that I can go and find them again. But I made notes on them. I made connections to them. I finished reading The Goldfinch, which I started. I finished it. I made some notes. Yeah, and I've been doing more research as well. I'm gonna keep going as I'm going with that because I need to reread the books realistically to make new notes. The Goldfinch, I read it and I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing until I had read at least, like, I would say maybe half of The Little Friend, which was the 2 of the 3 books that I read. So I think I'm gonna reread the other 2 at some point, maybe in like the new year, and then develop it more as I like do that. But I do have a lot of thoughts and I made a lot of notes in The Goldfinch. So it's fine. But yeah, I did do that stuff and it was quite fun. I also have some videos to watch, some interviews with the author, Donna Tartt, who I think if I watch those videos, it might be interesting to see. Like, one of the sources that I found was an interview that she did. And one of the things that she said was really interesting to me. So I want to see if there's anything else that she says, any like clarification that she gives about things that kind of fit what I'm going for. This was for The Search for Happiness. I actually got a book. This is Wealth, Legends and Folk Tales. Yeah, which it's a really old book. It's secondhand, but there are these stories, basically folk tales, and I'm still reading through them because it is a full book and I want to take my time and really think about whether or not I could use them or whether or not they're things that I would feel right sort of changing slightly. But I did look into it. There was a lot of stuff that I already knew that wasn't helpful at all. I also did create the settings. I might have to create more settings because I've since done, as I said, the religions. I did that, and then on month 2, develop the plot. I basically had to go through and completely change the entire plot line. Like, it was just not a good outline. I wrote it ages ago, I think, before I'd even really written many books, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I've since developed that a lot and good. But I've got 2 chapters that I want just a bit more, and I'm not sure if I want them to be kind of like rest chapters between places because it's like a road trip book, or if I'd like it to be at places, in which case I would have to create new places because I don't want to create loads of places because this is a standalone. And I don't want to like waste good ideas on a book where those things aren't going to get developed. So yeah, if you watch that other video, especially if you just watched it because you're seeing this one and you're like, oh, I want to see what, it was Pilates. If I go to month 2, you can see Pilates is on here. I was supposed to actually do it today, but I think I'm going to do it tomorrow because I just did not. Today was a bit of a weird day for me. I just was so tired. But I have been doing ballet. I've been doing ballet every week on Fridays. I have this online membership thing from the like English National Ballet or something it's called. And they do online classes that you can they're like recorded, you can look at them. I'm not saying that's perfect. I would like to do them in like person one day, but it was between ballet and Pilates that I actually chose originally. And ballet was like easier for me to do because it was like more structured. It was like different classes every week, so there was a sort of progression which felt better. It felt like it would keep me engaged more. But now that I'm getting a little bit fitter, which I definitely am, I want to do Pilates as well to really just help me progress a little bit faster in the getting like healthier in my heart and stuff. But yeah, I've been doing that every week, and I'm aware that I'm going through this very quickly, but basically I did everything. And something that I've learned from it, you can see this. Actually, I don't think I will let you see. But basically, I've got like my month 2 planned out. And I think it just, something that I've learned from this is that when I actually organize myself, I can do stuff. My biggest enemy is a lack of structure. It's a lack of like having something written down that I could just be like, oh, I was going to do that. Because I do stuff. I've been doing Camp Novelbound at the minute, which is where I write every day, and I'm aiming for 45,000 words. It's looking like I'm gonna get closer to like 50,000 plus, actually 50,000. But I've been writing every day for this, and I've been writing the sequel to Formation Lap actually, which is my Formula 1 story, and I did that because it just felt easier, because again, I think that you should have grace with yourself. That is a big thing that I've learned. I didn't do ballet one day, but I did it like 3 days later. I think it was actually 2 days later, because I was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood to do it today. I don't really have time. I've got so much that I need to do. So I'm just going to do it a different day. I have days where I was like, you know what? Am I really in the mood to do this now? No. So I don't do it because it's on the list, so I'm going to do it eventually. Have I been playing the violin as much as I would like? No, but I have been doing it. And considering that I have like touched it, I think maybe twice in the last year until I started doing this, progress is progress. And I do agree, like, I saw this person, right, who, I don't know who it was, and I feel really bad about it, but they were talking about how a lot of the people who set these curriculums for themselves are going to fail because they do stuff that's too broad. They have way high expectations that just, it's stuff that like you wouldn't ever be expected to do because it's too much, but they set those expectations for themselves because they want to aim high. And I think that's great. I think that it's fine to do that. And like, this is a really rushed video, I will admit it, because I don't want to talk too much about the fact that I did it, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like there is anything to say. It's become normal for me to do these things. I don't feel like I'm proud of myself for doing it, but I'm not proud in the way that like I'm proud when I finished a book. You know, I don't go, wow, I need to sit and sort of celebrate this for a while. I just think like this is something that works for me, and I found a way of getting myself to do stuff. Does that make sense? I feel like basically, if you watch the last video, you know what I've done. It's not that I've done every single thing exactly as it was written, but I have done everything that I intended to do, which was to get better at the violin stuff and music in general, to be more diverse in my reading, and to prepare for when I, you know, am going to be able to ask for new books or buy new books for myself. I'm going to be able now to jump into more dissertation work without it being like, oh my god, where do I start? Because I've made a start. I have a book that I probably won't be writing for a while, but it's planned out pretty well, right? Like it's ready for me when I'm ready for it, which was what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that I had a book that I could just jump right into when I wanted to. And I think the big one is that like I did all of this stuff and it didn't feel difficult. Yes, I had to remind myself sometimes to like do stuff even if I didn't really feel like it, but it wasn't like I sat there and I went, oh my god, how am I supposed to do this? I purposely gave myself a list of things that was manageable, and I was willing to adapt when they weren't manageable. I was willing to say, you know what, I am not getting that whole chapter done. I'm just going to do what I can. And I think that that is all that I've really learned from this, besides like, you know, French words and stuff, where doing a personal curriculum for me does seem to really work because I am willing, to put it simply, I am willing to give myself the freedom to do as much or as little as I'm capable of doing. And I think that based off of like what that other person said, a lot of people won't stick to their personal curriculums. That was their point. Because they set too much for themselves, because they have very vague goals, and then it's like, well, how do I do that? I was quite specific. I was so specific that I was able to know when I wasn't going to be able to do that, but when I was still going to be doing like the spirit of what I was trying to do. And so I succeeded, and I succeeded by the only metric that matters, which is mine. But yeah, I think honestly, like if you were considering doing a personal curriculum, or you just wanted to like see how I did, I recommend being really gentle with yourself. I recommend doing like things that you want to do, but not more than like you have, because I didn't put my writing on here. I read and I write every single day. I didn't put those things on here. I mean, I did for the Goldfinch because I wanted to remember to do the Goldfinch, which I did forget until I saw it, so that was good. But like, I didn't put like, oh, I'm gonna read this book today, I'm gonna read that book. Like, I read and write every single day, and I don't have to think about it. One day I'm not gonna have to think about French. One day I'm not gonna have to think about the violin. One day, you know, I'm gonna be this person whose personal curriculum is on different subjects. I already have things that I know I want to do, things that I missed out on because I didn't learn them at school because my education was very spotty. I will be continuing to use this, and I will be continuing to use it until the things that I'm learning become a part of me. And I think that there's this idea of like being just like what is it? It's like people say that they want to be disgustingly educated. That's like the phrase, I think, of being able to just like off the top of their head have conversations with different people from different walks of life about like everything, sort of like dinner party smart, you know, like the kind of person that you meet at a dinner party and they're oh, I read this article in this thing the other day, and you're just like, wow, That's incredible. How do you just live that life? I want to be like that, but I don't want to be like that for other people. Like, I don't want to be like seeming smart. I want to be that way because I genuinely feel like there's so much in my life that I'm never going to get the opportunity to do. And I would like to do at least some of it. And I feel like it's so easy when you have no structure to just do none of it. So I've basically succeeded at actually bringing these things into my life by using this structure. And it's a structure that, you know, wouldn't work for some people, but it worked for me. And I don't have that much else to say about it. What I will also say, though, is that, like, I don't know how to say this, but it, like, honestly has been kind of like a learning curve to use Notion specifically. And I don't know if in the future I would use Notion. I don't know. I like the little setup that I made for it. I am still quite happy with it. But I have noticed that I kind of miss when I'm like in bed, for example, that I can't look at it. And you could say, well, just get it on your phone. I don't want to be constantly looking at a screen. I think I want to get like a notebook where I do these and I carry this notebook everywhere with me. I think that would be really nice. I think that would be quite fun. So I might do that. I might change up like the way that I do it specifically, but I will say that in terms of the way that like it works other than that, like the week 1, week 2, blah blah blah, picking some things, and I've planned the whole next month. This month we're like halfway through at this point, but I am liking that a lot and I don't have anything else to say about it. I've done everything on my list. That's all that there is, and it felt like a good experience and I do recommend it quite a lot actually. I don't know how it'll hold up. I guess I could do like a follow-up, an update video. That's the word. Such a silly word to forget because like update, seriously. But if it's November now, so I will be going back to university, ideally if I'm like well enough, in October. So when I get like busier, I will see. Something that I also want to just say is that I'm learning French because I wanted to move to France. I feel really stupid because I don't know why I hadn't thought about this. Like I knew this, but my mum's dad, like, he's Irish. He was from Ireland. And I knew that, but I didn't put it together in my head, even though I knew that this was a thing, that I could therefore claim Irish citizenship and be an EU citizen and move to France without having to worry about getting a visa because Britain left, you know, the European Union, which means that like I am literally like I have like updated plans now because that was a huge hurdle that I was gonna have to try and do. Or like what if I'm not even allowed to go? I'm gonna be allowed. It might take a while, but I'm gonna be allowed. So learning like French, like this is all stuff that has like a new purpose because it's like I'm thinking about the life that I want for myself and that's what I'm aiming for. And so when I'm at university, hopefully these things will still be things that I do care about. But basically that's my point, right? Is that I'm going back to university. I do plan on doing that. I do plan on being like a bit more social when I'm physically able to do that because I miss hanging out with people on a regular basis. I love my friends, they're all great. But I think that it is unrealistic to expect that it will go exactly the same because especially like writing is going to be a priority, reading is going to be a priority, but uni work is going to be the biggest priority. So am I going to be fluent in French by then? Realistically, no. The rate I'm going, no. But how much am I going to get through in a week if I'm also doing other stuff? How much violin time am I going to get while I'm doing other stuff? So I might do an update when I'm like at that point where my priorities, they'll be the same in the sense that I still want to learn these things for myself because I've wanted to learn these things for a long time. But whether or not I'm actually able to do them in the same way that I am now, I think it would be worth looking at and seeing how a personal curriculum holds up when you actually have a life outside of the personal curriculum, because I currently don't. The most that I have to worry about right now is like, when do I have a doctor's appointment? So it's just, you know, like, I'll figure it out, and I'll get back to you. The next video that I'm going to do, and I can say this with certainty, is I'd like to do a video talking about Camp Novelbound at some point, and I also want to do a video talking about Formula One, how I got into it, talking about, you know, when I got into it and stuff that's like in my book that is good for Formula One fans and coming from someone who is a fan. But I'd also like to do this thing where I watch every series of Formula One, like every single series, right? Every series. I say series, season. It's a sport. Sorry, Britishisms. But like, I want to watch every single season, and I want to talk about it, one video per season, and like go through each like every single season I will do a video where I'm like, so I just watched this race and this is my thoughts, this is what happened, this is like blah, and basically follow the championships as well, because I want to watch every season of Formula One, which I think will go on my personal curriculum, because I really have wanted to do that for a really long time, and I just don't make the time. But if I put it on the curriculum, which is why I'm mentioning it now, right? Because these are things that are on the, I'm going to start putting like the videos that I want to do and my Substack on the curriculum, because clearly if it's on the curriculum, I don't forget about it, and I forget these things, I forget to do them. So basically this has worked. I think it's worked really well. I'm quite proud of my progress, but it doesn't feel at the same time like anything to be proud of, because it's become very normal for me. And so I would advise it, because like, that's what I wanted. I wanted this to not feel like I was pushing myself too much, but to still be doing stuff that I hadn't been doing. So I'm gonna like add a bit more, I think, because I do tend to finish a day or so before, and then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll get back to it in a few, almost a year's time. In fact, it probably will be a year, because I'll have to try and do it for like a month, which will be October, so it'll be same time. But I'll do that, and then I'll have some videos coming up where I again do those things that are on my curriculum, and I talk about writing stuff again, because I'm aware that this is like the third non-writing video in a month. And also I am gonna start doing this thing for December, which I will be calling, basically it's like happy holidays. Did I start this video right? Did I do the intro that I always do? I say the intro, it's just me going like, hi, I'm Holly, I'm a writer. I don't know if I did that. So if you don't know my name, that's great. But yeah, I have this thing that I've wanted to do ever since I was like a teenager, and I was like, I want a YouTube channel so that I can do Christmases with happy holidays. I have a whole thing planned for that. I think I'm going to do that from the next video, because it is still just a little bit early for me. It's still like early November, but I'm going to do that. And I would love if you have any suggestions for like writing or reading content to do for Christmas. I don't know what that would even be, but I think like I might do like books to ask for Christmas, stuff like that. And I'll also maybe do like a little, you know, Formula One thing over the break. It'll probably be where it's like watching over the winter break all of the previous seasons, and I think that's probably best when I'll do it, is like over the winter break, over the summer break, so that I'm not too in my head. But I'll get on that. Yeah. And I don't know, sorry, this is just such a mess. I planned to do this days ago, and then my dad came home right after I pressed play. Like, it was 20 seconds in, and it just really threw me off, because I get so, like, even if, like, I don't care how well I know somebody or how much they, or even if they were to watch the video, the thought of them hearing me making it is so embarrassing to me. It's part of the reason why I've not been doing the violin as much as I would like, because I get embarrassed enough when I play it slightly badly. Like, I cringe at myself when I'm playing this thing. I don't want other people to be cringing. And I know that I need to work on that, but I guess that's something that I'm already getting a bit better at because I wouldn't have put myself on the internet this way before. So I don't know, this is kind of going into a bit of, you know, ramble territory. Speaking of, you should watch our podcast. We're starting to, I have a vision. So I'm going to try and make that a bit more, you know, because at the moment it's just two writers who are slightly overwhelmed doing their best. So yeah, follow me here. I will probably do an update. It won't be for like a year, but I do have a few fun things coming up and I would like you to know about them and hopefully be excited for them. It's not going to be anything special, don't like, but I ordered, this is exciting news, I ordered a tripod. I ordered a tripod so that I can actually put my phone on a tripod because I can't afford a new camera, okay? I can't afford a camera that's good for filming. I just can't do that. I don't have that money. And I'm not going to ask for one because they are expensive. They are like hundreds of pounds. So eventually, yeah, probably. But for now, I've just ordered a tripod. And the next video, it should be here. So I will be able to actually have you at like eye level, which will be weird, right? But this is the thing, silent improvements, well, not so silent in my case because I can't shut up, but things that happen slowly but surely, things that you do that you know, feel all right, I think that's the way to go. And I hope that if you have your own personal curriculum that you do the same, because I have noticed an uptick in my productivity since I started doing that. And I think that's all you can ask for really, is improvement. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. I have no idea if I even really covered what I expected to cover, but I did my best, and that's the point of the video, right? So thank you for watching. I hope that you do come back for the next wintry video, and